This is BBC Radio 3. It's now a little after 9:30 and time for the Sunday Play. Over the past year, Radio 3 has offered an extraordinary visit into the classical drama of Greece and vital new dramas in response to the ancient texts. The final play this year brings together one of Britain's finest dramatists and one of Hollywood's greatest actors.
Hecuba by Euripides, translated and adapted by Timberlake Wertenbaker, starring Olympia Dukakis.
I come from the hollows of the dead. I slipped through the night fence, enclosing grim Hades. I was granted permission to leave that dismal colony and come here to find my mother. My name is Polydorus. I was the youngest son of the great Priam. I am Hecuba's child. Do you remember Troy? The tumult of those days. War. Remorseless war. Listen. When Troy seemed in danger of falling under the might of Greek arms, my dear father Priam sent me away. He sent me to his ally, Polymestor, military ruler of this country, Thrace, famed for its horses, its rich soil, Thrace. My father also sent gold with me to ensure that if Troy should fall, I would not want, never become, a beggarly refugee. I was the youngest child. I wasn't old enough to brandish a spear, strong enough to carry weapons. That's why they sent me away. Now, as long as the walls that marked our boundaries, as long as those walls stood, as long as the ramparts of Troy remained unscaled, and as long as my brother, Hector, remained lucky in war and kept winning battles, I was cared for by my father's friend and ally. I was cherished. I thrived. I grew like a young sapling. But when... misery. Remember that day when Troy collapsed, Hector's life cut short, cut down, when my father's hearth was razed to dust, when Priam himself collapsed at the altar once built by the god, slaughtered by the bloody hand of Achilles' son. Then Polymestor killed me. Polymestor, my father's honored ally, his friend. He killed me for the gold. He dropped my body into this sea to keep the gold for himself.
Women of Troy.
My body lies, immobile, rocked in the crooks of the waves. I lie still, lapped by the white crests of the sea. No one has wept for me. No one has buried me.
Women of Troy.
3 days since my mother came to Thrace. 3 days since she left the ashes of Troy.
Flashing light of Zeus. Darkness of the night. Why these terrors? Apparitions.
3 days since the Greek ships have lain idly on this Thracian coast, since the ghost of Achilles rose from his tomb. He's held back the whole of the Greek army, stilled their oars, turned their prows from their course. He is demanding that my sister, Polyxena, be sacrificed to him.
Sacred earth, you, their mother, turn back these night visions.
A blood offering to moisten his tomb.
Silence the flutter of black wings.
A gift due his honor.
Gods of earth.
My sister is entangled in her own death today. And soon, my mother will look down on 2 corpses. The unlucky girls, but mine as well.
Gods of earth, and you, fearful powers of the dark, protect my son, the only anchor of my family, whom we sent here to snowy peaks of Thrace to the safe shelter of Polymestor, our honored ally.
I will appear in the ripple of the waves and be taken to my mother. Those who hold power below have granted me this, to lie in the arms of my mother and be buried at last. And then I shall have all I wished for.
The future casts grim shadows. No rest.
I can leave my body. I can hover over my darling mother. I glide in the shafts of light. 3 days I've been doing this, watching over my mother and the rubble of her destiny.
No rest.
Mother, you come from a great and royal house. But today, slavery, how ill you fare, who once fared so well. A god pours destruction on you now, with as much relish as he once showered favors. Mother.
Where can I find Cassandra? Ask her to use her divining powers to clarify these dreams. Women of Troy.
Hecuba!
Women of Troy. I saw this. A dappled deer hung from the jaws of a wolf. And this.
Hecuba!
The ghost of Achilles rose from his tomb demanding tribute in the form of a Trojan woman. Have we not suffered enough?
Hecuba! Hecuba! I haven't come to ease your pains. No, I bear heavy news, herald grief. See the crier inviting you to lament and listen.
Away from my own child. Send this away, you spirits.
The Greeks held a full assembly, and there they voted to sacrifice your child to Achilles. A blood offering. Achilles appeared on his high tomb, clad in golden armor, held back the ships, as their sails pressed against the stays. He barked these words: "What, Greeks, can your destination be when you leave my tomb with no gift to honor it?" When they heard this, the Greeks divided themselves into two camps, two opinions. Arguments rose, clashed, and clanged. Some wanted to spill the appropriate blood offering on the tomb. Others disagreed. It was Agamemnon, remaining faithful to the bed of your frenzied daughter Cassandra, who urged your good. But the two sons of Theseus, scions of Athens, with two speeches urged one course of action: to crown the tomb of Achilles with youthful blood. And both agreed they would never give greater value to Cassandra's charms than to the spear of Achilles. Opinion was equally divided as to what action to take. When the wily-witted, sweet-talking, crowd-pleasing son of Laertes, I mean Odysseus, persuaded the soldiers not to reject, for the sake of a mere and paltry slave, the very best of the Greeks. No, not to let ever the ghost of a dead soldier stand before the Queen of the Dead and say that the Greeks left the plains of Troy ungrateful to the Greeks who died for Greece. Odysseus will come in as little time as it takes me to say these words, to drag away the doe. Send her far from your aging arms. Now, go to the altars, go to the temples, clasp Agamemnon's knees as his suppliant. Call on the gods above and on the gods below. Your prayers might prevent you being orphaned of your child.
Pity.
If not, Hecuba, you will stand and watch this. Your girl, prostrate over the soldier's tomb, your daughter's tender skin dyed crimson, streams of blood gushing from the fresh, the thin knife slit in her throat.
Where are the words? Wreckage of old age, slavery, unendurable. Who defends me? What family, what state? The old man, my husband, the king, gone. The children, gone. Go. Go where? Which god, what spirit, where? Trojan women, squawkers of evil tidings. Look what you've done. Winded, cracked, finished me. Obliteration. Lead me to my child. Child! Child!
Mother! What cries, what now? You flush me out of the covert of my house, trembling bird. Stunned. Terror.
My child.
I. Dark greeting heralds harm. I.
Your life.
Say, don't stretch out this fear.
My
Lord, Mother, why these groans?
Child of a blighted mother.
Speak!
Slaughtered at the tomb of Achilles. That is the unanimous decision of the Greeks. Greeks voted against your life.
Mother of miseries, what god pursues you with such malice? Weep for your disgrace. I wanted to be the companion of your old age, fellow slave, friend. Not now. I am to be slaughtered like an animal, blood bubbling from my throat, sent down to the darkness of the earth to sleep with the dead. I weep for you, Mother. But as for myself, this life...
Ordena patus, o pan lamon, o distanu, mater biotas, hoian, 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 o soilo benedictis danaraton, tor sentis daimon. Odysseus, coming fast to tell you.
Hecuba, I believe you know the will of the army, and of the vote that has been cast. It has seemed right to the Greeks to kill your child in front of the high mound of Achilles' tomb. I have been asked to lead the girl to the sacrifice. The son of Achilles has been appointed to oversee the offering and to act as priest. Don't make me pull her away by force. Don't enter into a contest of strength with me. Know your position, and that your misfortunes make you weak. And don't forget that when times are hard, it is wise to do as you are told.
If it is possible for a slave to inquire of the free man without upsetting him, without causing the slightest tremor to his heart, then let me. I will listen to your answers, Odysseus, but hear my questions.
Ask. I will give you that time.
Remember that day during the war? You had come to spy on Troy. You were disguised in shapeless rags, masked by blood dripping down your cheeks.
That day is embedded in my heart.
Helen recognized you and told me alone.
I was in great danger.
You grasped my knees, crumpled with humility.
My hands numb with tension from clinging to your robes.
Remember what you said to me? You, then my slave?
Anything I could think of to save myself.
I sent you away from our country unharmed.
I am alive to this day.
Then these recent decisions you speak of belittle you. You describe how honorably I treated you, and yet you shower me with evil. Ugly breed of demagogues, always after popular appeal, coveting the status of world leaders. Oh, never to have you cast your shadow cross my path, since you don't care if you betray your friends as long as your words please the people. What kind of clever advice did you give to those Greeks to make them vote for the death of this child? Since when is it necessary to sacrifice human beings where an offering of oxen would do as well? If Achilles needs to kill his killers, why point at her, murder her? If he must drink human blood, then let him ask for Helen. She is the one who destroyed him, she whose golden trail of beauty lured him to Troy and to his death. If you're looking for a paragon of grace, it's nothing to do with us. Helen stands out. Helen radiates beauty over the land. And Helen, the Greek, is as guilty as we, the women of Troy. That is my argument. It is a just one. And now to another point of justice. Listen carefully, Odysseus, and respect your obligations to me. You touched this wrinkled, flaking cheek. You knelt at my knees, clasped them in supplication, begging for mercy. At my mercy. Today, I touch you. I kneel before you, and I beg you for mercy. Do not drag this child from the wrap of my arms. Do not let her be killed. Haven't there been enough deaths? She is my comfort, cool balm on my cracked, my parched heart. She is my city, my nurse, my staff, my guide. Let her be. One must beware of assuming powers over what one has no right to. And remember that those who are lucky today are not lucky forever. Look at me. I once basked in the soft folds of good fortune. One day crumpled it all. Luck ripped to tatters. Odysseus, show due mercy. Go to the Greeks, speak to them, show them how odious and base it is to kill women and children. Remember, slaves and free men have an equal right to life before Greek law. You are a leader, Odysseus, and your position will convince them if you speak on our behalf.
Where is the man with such a hardened nature who, hearing this, will not relent?
Hecuba, I know what rage tears your heart. But as I am speaking for your own good, don't treat me as your enemy. I am prepared to save your life. However, let me be clear. I cannot go back on what I said to the army. We have to reward Achilles, our bravest soldier, with your daughter's death, if that is what he wants. If the great and the good who give their lives for their country are treated with no more honor than cowards, the state weakens and runs into trouble. Achilles died for Greece, and he deserves the highest honors. It would be shameful if we were seen to use him as a friend during his life, but ignored him in death. Imagine the talk we'd hear in the country when we had to call men to arms for the next war. Shall we go and fight, they'll say, or shall we look after ourselves? Preserve our lives. Why fight when there's no reward, no honor in dying for your country? Look at me. I don't need much, but I want to see my grave covered with honors. I want to be remembered forever. You say you're in great pain. Well, we have old women as wretched as you, and old men, too. We have brides whose grooms are no more than corpses rotting in the dust of Troy. Maybe we are wrong to believe that brave men deserve honor. You barbarians, on the other hand, seem not to know how to treat your friends. Fine. Refuse to honor the dead. Ignore the glory of those who fight for you. And we, the Greeks, will continue to reap the rewards of your policies.
Slaves suffer nothing but evil, bent down by force. Debris of history.
Daughter, my words have scattered in the wind, purposeless, shattering against the decree of your death. But
You may have more power than your mother. Be quick. Take on the supple tones of the nightingale and save yourself. Fall at his knees. Beg for his mercy. He has children of his own. He might take pity on your fate.
I have been watching you, Odysseus, hiding your right hand under your cloak, turning your face away to ensure I can't touch your cheek or make any other embarrassing gesture of supplication. Supplication you might have to obey. You needn't be so frightened. You will not have to answer to the god of supplication. Not on my behalf, at least. I will follow you of my own accord. I want to come with you. I want to die. Were I not content to die, I would think myself base, beneath contempt, a woman clinging with shameful lust to the shreds of her life. Why should I want to live? I had a father who ruled the whole of Troy. I was nurtured in the sweetness of great hopes, bred to be the bride of kings, indeed the cause of no small rivalries between suitors as to whose hearth and home I should grace. I ruled over the women of Troy, and when I stood among the girls of my country, it was I who drew everyone's gaze, equal to the gods, only subject to death. Today, now, a slave. The name itself makes me long for death. I will not get used to it. And then, these questions. Who will be my master? Me, the sister of Hector, and of so many other great Trojan warriors. Perhaps a man who revels in cruelty. He could force me into the kitchens to bake the bread for the household, or to sweep the house, or to make me sit with other slaves at the loom, bowed under the heavy weight of painful hours, dripping away the minutes in humiliating drudgery. And finally, some other slave, bought cheap in a market, would be ordered to come to me and soil my bed. I, who was once deemed a bride fit for the greatest rulers. No. No! Freedom! Free, I relinquish this light, and free I assign my body to Hades. Take me, Odysseus. Mother, don't resist. Not a word, not a gesture. Help me to accept death before I suffer indignity. Those who are not used to submitting to evils bow their head eventually, but at what cost? Death is the happier course, for where there is no honor, misery lies in wait.
Great acts add luster to the shine of a great name.
Fine words, my daughter, but harbingers of grief. Odysseus, if Achilles must have his reward, and yet you want to remain clear of guilt, then leave her. Kill me. Take me to the burning mound of Achilles and stab me. I am the one who gave birth to Paris, and it was the arrow from Paris's bow that killed Achilles.
Not your death, but hers, old woman. This is what Achilles' ghost demanded of the Greeks.
Then kill me with my daughter. Give the earth a double libation. Let the corpse gorge itself on twice the measure of blood.
We have enough with the death of this girl. I wish we didn't even need this one.
I must die with my daughter.
Since when do I obey you?
I will wrap myself around her like ivy to the oak.
Listen to those who know better than you.
I will not let go of my daughter.
And I will not leave this place without her.
Mother, listen to me. Odysseus, relent towards a parent who must by nature give way to passion. Mother, do not struggle against those who have such power. Do you want to be thrown down on the ground, wound your old skin in an unequal battle, and have your daughter dragged away from your arms in a humiliating fight? Don't! Not you, no. It isn't seemly. Sweet mother, put your hand in mine. Let my cheek caress yours. Let me look at you for the last time. My cherished mother who brought me to life, Hear my last words as I go to my death. Down to the dark. Down below ground.
I am tried beyond endurance.
I am to live in that unlit world, Hades, far from you.
Where shall I drag the last steps of my life?
I shall die a slave.
Slavery.
No marriage, no wedding song. And yet they were my due.
So many children. Not one left.
What messages, my mother, do you have for your son Hector? Or for your venerable husband?
Tell them no woman has ever been so miserably cast down.
Your breast gave me such sweet nourishment.
This was not the time for you to die.
Farewell. Farewell to my sister Cassandra.
Let others farewell. For this mother, never again.
My brother Polydorus still lives in this land of horses, Thrace.
I have no faith.
He lives, mother, and when your life comes to its end, he will be there to close your eyes.
I am living my death now.
Take me now, Odysseus. Cover my head and lead me away. My mother's laments have cracked open my heart as mine have worn hers. Warm and gentle light. I can still lift my face to you. But for how long? No more than the moments it will take to walk to the tomb of Achilles and present my neck to the sword.
Daughter, touch your mother. Hold out your hand. Don't leave me childless. No.
Come. The army is waiting.
Ocean breeze, gentle and caressing, carrying swift ships on the high seas. Where will you carry me? Ocean breeze, gentle and caressing, carrying swift ships on the high seas. Where will you carry me in my misery? Who will buy me? Whose house will I enter? A slave. Will we anchor on the shores of that Dorian land, the mountains of the Peloponnesus, or in Thessaly, where limpid rivers grace the plains? Or will the splash of plying oars take me to that sacred island, Delos, where the palm and the laurel first grew, stretching forth their tender shoots to Leto as she laboured the birth of Zeus? I'll join in the procession of well-born maidens, singing the praises of Artemis, goddess of the hunt, golden headband, golden bow, and golden arrows. Or might it be Athens, city of horses and magnificent chariots? Will my task be to embroider the saffron robe of wise Athena, yoke the horses with golden stitches, rainbow threads trace the lineaments of Titan families as they stumble, fall, pierced by the double-pronged lightning of Zeus? Alas for my children. Alas for the fathers of my land. Troy, cast down, sizzling in the flames of war, rubble, trampled by the power of the Greeks. I am a foreigner in a foreign land, disfigured by this name, slave. Far from the soft plains of Asia, my home, here not to meet my death, no, but worse, displaced to the bleak and arrogant shores of the West.
Where is the former Queen of Troy? Where might I find Hecuba?
She lies there, Talthybius, her back against the hard ground, wrapped in her robes.
What do I see? Is there a god who looks upon humans, or is that unsubstantiated fantasy? Perhaps only the caprice of chance oversees the affairs of mortals. Tell me, is this not the Queen of Troy, that land of gold? And was she not once the wife of the prosperous Priam? Now the whole country has been slashed by the enemy's sword and cleansed of Trojans. And there, a slave, old, childless, hair speckled by dust. I'm an old man, but may I find death before I collide against such a bitter fate. Stand up, woman of sorrow. Raise yourself from the ground. Lift your head.
Who is this? Why disturb me? Leave me and let me grieve.
My name is Talthybius. I'm a servant of the Greeks. I'm here by the order of Agamemnon to come and fetch you.
They've seen it as right to kill me. Let us go. Quickly. Hurry.
I have come on behalf of the people of Greece. Come and bury your child.
My child. How did you make an end of her? With reverence? Or did you accomplish your terrible act with a hatred reserved for enemies? I will hate your words, but speak.
Double harvest of tears for me, Hecuba, sown in pity for your child. Once at the tomb where she died, there these old cheeks were watered by tears. Now again in telling you of these dread moments. The whole of the Greek army, in all its might, stood before the tomb of Achilles, all there to witness the slaughter. The son of Achilles took Polyxena by the hand and led her to the top of the mound. I was there, nearby. A group of young men had been especially selected to restrain her should she struggle, as young calves taken to slaughter are wont to do. And now the child of Achilles raises a golden cup in his hands and offers libations to his dead father. And he nods to me to command silence. I take my stand, call out, "Silence, Greeks! Let the people be silent! Let them be still! Let them be silent!" And the son of Achilles said, "Father, child of Peleus, accept these libations from me. Succumb to their charm and come up. Come to us. Come and drink the dark, the virginal blood of this maiden. Be gracious. Bestow your favor upon us. Allow us to loosen our mooring cables, that we may all go home." Thus he spoke, and the army prayed. Then he took the gold-encrusted handle of his sword. He drew it out of its sheath and indicated to the young men to hold the girl. When she saw this, Polyxena stopped him. "Greeks," she cried, "I die here on my own free will. Let no one lay a hand on me. I ask you by all the gods to let me go to my death a free woman. I was born free. I do not want the shame of being called a slave when I join the dead. I who was a princess? The Greeks shouted in approval, and Lord Agamemnon told the young men to let her go. But now she tears her drapes from her shoulder to her waist, revealing breasts molded with the divine beauty of a statue. And she utters these words, "Behold this breast, young man, and if this is where you wish to strike, then strike. But if you would prefer to pierce my throat, here is my neck." The son of Achilles was torn between two desires, wanting to strike, but moved by pity for this noble girl. In the end, he lifted his sword and cut through the girl's windpipe. Streams of blood. And so, when her breath had left her body, all the Greeks took on different tasks. Some honored her courage by strewing dead leaves over her body. Others built a high funeral pyre with logs of pine. And if anyone spotted someone shirking his work, then reproaches came fast upon him. "How can you stand still like that, with empty hands, offering neither a robe nor ornaments to this girl? Go at once and find an offering for this virtuous girl who has displayed such a brave spirit." As I tell this tale, Hecuba, I see in you a mother fortunate in her children, but wrecked by an unlucky destiny.
Dread rumblings first, then flames of calamity erupted over my city and charred the race of Priam, when the gods decided this was the movement of history.
Monsters of grief lurking in every corner. One pounces, clings to me, then another one grimaces, stalks me, leaps, piling sorrow upon sorrow. And now, my daughter, your pain wraps itself around my heart. But your actions, so brave, so bold, ease the agony. Strange. Go at once. Tell the Greeks not to touch my child. Keep the crowd of men from her body. And you, take an urn, fill it with seawater. Bring it here that I might wash my daughter for the last time. Find me ornaments, something the women managed to hide from our new masters, something from their houses, something. Gilded splendor of a house once bathed by good fortune. Priam had everything. Now here I am, old, the ghost-white mother of so many children. All withers to nothing. And we are nobody. How easily we are puffed up. One by his rich house, another by his respected name among the citizens. Vain wishes of the mind, empty boasts of a soft tongue. Happy who day by day escapes pain. No more needed. Just that. No pain.
Misfortune beckoned me, inexorable, when Paris cut down the pines of Mount Ida. Wood to build his boat, cross the seas, seek and reach the bed of Helen. Helen the lovely reflects sun rays in myriad cascades of golden beauty. Helen, luminous Helen. Pain, inescapable, and worse than pain, this slavery tightens its grip around me, strangles all. The folly of one man, but disaster came to all. Destruction of the Trojan land, destruction for us. Destruction for that other woman too, our enemy. When Paris judged the three goddesses and chose Aphrodite. From that judgment, annihilation and the desecration of my house.
All night,
See our enemy. See the Greek woman. She too weeps by the graceful streams of the Euripides. And a young girl in her house mourns the loss of promised love. And there, see the speckled head of the mother, mourns her dead children, lifts her hand to her face, and grooves her cheeks with bloodied nails.
Where is Hecuba, the one who has surpassed all men and all the generations of women in suffering? No one can take that crown from her.
What is it? What portents in your screeches? Will there never be any respite from bad news?
It is not in the power of humans to make suffering welcome.
She's coming now, out of her tent.
Most miserable, and even more than my words can say. You are no more, though you still breathe. For you, no children, no husband, no city, nothing. You are emptied. You stand outside life.
Why taunt me with what I already know? And why are you bringing me Polyxena's body?
She knows nothing. She mourns her daughter. She cannot grasp this new calamity.
Is it the prophetess Cassandra you bring?
You mourn the living. Ignore the dead. Here is the boy, stripped naked. Your boy. Look.
Down. Down. I am no more. Avenging spirits, lend me your voice. Frenzies of Bacchus, come to me. I will be mad. Down.
Now you recognize the wreckage of your son.
Anew. Treachery and treachery, not to be believed. So I see the tight-packed march of evils, and now no day will ever again close without tears. No, never relent. Child, what fate killed you? Whose hand?
I found him on the seashore.
Spewed from the sea, or killed on the shore. Blood on the sand, a spear.
An ocean wave cast him forth.
Visions of the night. Now I understand you. The black-winged phantom. Yes, it was you I saw. My son.
Who killed your child? Did your dream tell you that?
My honored and trusted ally, Polymestor, where his father placed him for safekeeping.
He killed him.
Unspeakable. Where is faith among allies? What is a contract? What happens to trust, to justice? Cursed man who butchered with his dagger the limbs of this child!
A god weighs heavily upon your life and makes you the most downcast of humans. Shh, Agamemnon.
Hecuba, why this delay? You asked us not to bury your daughter. We did as you asked and left her alone, and now you take your time, linger here. Why? Everything has been done for the best, if there is any best in any of this. What's this?
What to do, Hecuba? Fall at Agamemnon's feet.
Who is this?
I cannot avenge my children without his help. Agamemnon, I supplicate you, here by your knees, your chin, and by the power of your right hand.
What is it you seek? If it is your freedom, that is easily done.
I would be a willing slave for the rest of my life. Only let me have my revenge.
How could I help you there?
It's not what you think. Do you see this corpse?
I see him, yes.
I carried him in my belly.
Which of your children is this?
This one was not killed at Troy.
You had other sons?
Yes, the one you see here.
Where was he hidden?
His father sent him away to this country, shrinking from thoughts of his death.
He sent him to Polymestor?
With the gold that caused his death.
How? At whose hands?
Who else? Our Thracian friend, our honored ally, destroyed him, Polymestor.
Who brought this child to you?
This woman found him on the shore.
Polymestor killed him and threw the body into the sea.
Hacked to pieces, limbs bobbing on the waves.
Was there ever a woman more brutally tried?
Never. I am misfortune itself. Listen to me. If this suffering were given to me by God, if it were holy, I would acquiesce and bow my head in pain. But if not, if it is the opposite of holy, then you must avenge me of this man who has committed a most sacrilegious crime. How often did he enjoy my hospitality? He was counted first among our friends. He received nothing but consideration, and still he kills my son. Couldn't even provide a tomb. No, not even that. Throws him into the sea. I am a slave. I have no power, but the gods are powerful, and above them is the rule of law. The law teaches us to believe in the gods and to distinguish between justice and injustice. If then there is no penalty imposed on those who dare kill their own trusting guests, then that law will be fatally corrupted, and soon nothing will be safe in the world of men. Agamemnon, consider what dishonor might come your way if you ignore what I say. Show me reverence.
I can do nothing.
Why do humans go in search of different branches of learning? Persuasion alone rules the lives of men. It is persuasion we should learn at whatever cost. Strange as it may seem to invoke the goddess of love, I will do so nonetheless. By your side, Agamemnon, in the sweet warmth of the night, there lies my daughter Cassandra, sacred priestess of Apollo. What recognition for these gentle pleasures of the dark would you give to her? Give me her mother. For it is in the soft curl of night that the charm of love brings ease to humans. Do you see this dead boy? Do well by him. He has a claim to kinship. Master Agamemnon, guiding light of the Greeks, be persuaded and offer to this old woman the use of your avenging hand. Even if she is nothing, do it. The man of excellence must serve justice, and evil must be repaid with evil.
Terrible and strange, the turn-about of this hurly-burly world. The law molds old friends into enemies, and enemies into new allies.
Hecuba, I feel pity for you, for your child, and for your supplicating hand. And I want to grant you this justice and see this impious stranger serve his punishment for the sake of the gods and for the sake of justice itself. However, I cannot be seen by the Greek army to have plotted the murder of Polymestor for the sake of Cassandra. He's deemed friendly to the Greeks. He is our ally. And this dead boy here is considered our enemy. If he is dear to me, it is for private reasons, which the army does not share. Think about this, Hecuba. I do want to help you, but I would be loath to incur the opprobrium of the Greeks.
What human being is ever free? Always a slave to money or to chance or to the mob or to the written law. He can never follow his bent and obey his better judgment. You cringe, allotting dread weight to a mob. Let me free you of your trepidations. Know that I plan my revenge, but do not you share in the deed. And if there is an outcry from the Greeks when Polymestor receives his due punishment, then come to my aid without seeming to. I will do the rest. Stay your tremulous heart. I will make sure all goes well.
What will you do? Can you hold a sword in your old hands? Will you resort to poison to kill the barbarian? Who will help you? Do you have friends here?
There is a crowd of Trojan women in these tents.
Are you talking about the slaves, the spoils of the Greeks?
With them I will kill the killer.
How can women have such power over men?
Terrible in numbers, and with craft a strong adversary.
Terrible, yes, but I question the power of females.
Why? Were not the 50 Danaids able to strangle their husbands? And was it not women who depopulated the island of Lemnos of its men? Let that be. Allow this woman to pass safely through the army and go to our Thracian friend. Come here.
Hecuba.
Tell Polymestor that the former queen of Troy summons him. With his interest at stake, as well as her own. Tell him to bring his children, so that they too can hear what she has to say.
I will do all you ask.
Agamemnon, hold back the burial of my daughter. Let this brother and sister, double object of my care and of my mourning, burn in one fire and mingle their ashes in the dark earth.
It shall be as you wish. The army cannot sail. The god refuses to send us favorable winds. We have to wait here, idle, quiet, watching. I hope this turns out for the best. There is a common interest for the private man as well as for a city. When evil is punished with evil, and the good prospers.
Troy, country of my fathers, once invincible, you can no longer hold that title. A swarm of Greeks hides your might. You're conquered by the spear, shorn of your towers, painted black by the smoke and soot of burning buildings. Dismal. And this sadness, never to set foot in your streets, never again.
O Patris Ilias, 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 Ilias.
It was the middle of the night at that time. At that time, sweet sleep crept over the houses and put an end to feasting. At that time, he had stopped dancing in honor of the gods. He had hung up his spear on the wall, and he was resting in our bedchamber. He had forgotten the fleet of Greeks that had crowded for long years on the shores of Troy. At that time, I was binding my hair for the night, looking into the infinite sparkles of a golden mirror, stretching into our bed of love. At that time, a clamor tore across the city. A command was shouted through the streets of Troy. "O sons of Greeks," screeched this voice, "when, oh when, will you destroy the watchtowers of Troy, that you may sail home at last?" I left the sweet bed, dressed only in a shift. I looked like the most immodest Spartan girl. I fell before the statue of Artemis, and I begged her for mercy, but I had no success. Woe! I watched killings, and the killing of my husband, and I was dragged to the open stretches of the high seas. And as the ship's prow set itself for the Greek homeland, I looked back, parted from my country, my Trojan land, and then I fainted in my grief. Agony. And I shouted curses on that miserable Helen and on the lust-born Paris. They chased me from my home, from my happiness, with their marriage that was no marriage at all, but the affliction of a malevolent spirit. And I pray that the high waves of the open sea keep her from her country. May she never return, may she never find rest, and may she never reach home. Polymestor, coming this way with his sons.
Polymestor.
Of all men, I loved Priam the best. And you, Hecuba, his wife. Now I shed tears as I watched the destruction of your city, of yourself, and of your daughter recently killed. Nothing holds in this world. Not glory, not the possession of good things. All goes sour. The gods jostle us, turn everything topsy-turvy, so that men in their confusion might worship them the more. Forgive my delay in coming. I was deep in Thrace when you arrived on these shores. I started on my journey to you. I met this woman. I heard her message. I rushed to you.
I am ashamed to look you in the face, Polymestor, overcome as I am by my woes. How can I not feel my disgrace before a man who once saw me blessed with good fortune? Now self-respect keeps me from lifting my eyes. Do not take this as ill intent towards you. In any case, custom forbids women to look directly at men.
I understand. Tell me why you sent for me.
The matter is private. I wish to tell only you and your sons.
Now tell me what help a fortunate man can give to his friends in their hardship.
First, tell me about the child Priam and I sent to you for safekeeping. Does he still live?
Yes. In that respect, you are fortunate.
Oh, my good friend. Your words are worthy of you.
What else do you wish to learn from me?
Does he remember me, who gave him birth?
He even wanted to come and find you secretly.
And the gold which he brought from Troy, is it safe?
Safe, well guarded in my house.
And safe you must keep it and not covet what is not yours.
I am content with what I have.
Do you know what I have to say to you and to your sons?
I am waiting to hear.
There is, my dear friend. cherished now even more than before.
What do you want to tell us?
Our family kept gold in ancient caves.
And you would like me to tell your son where it is?
I want you to be the one to convey it, as you are a pious man.
Do you need these children here?
Best if they know. You might die.
You are right. A wise precaution.
Do you know the shelters of Athena in Troy?
Is that where the gold is? How will I find it?
A black rock rises above the earth.
Any other signs?
I also want you to safeguard the wealth I came away with.
Where is it? In your robes?
In these tents, with a crowd of other spoils.
But the Greek ships are moored nearby.
The Trojan women are left in peace in these tents.
Is it safe? Are there no men around?
Only women on their own. Come in, and when you have everything you want, you can go with your sons to the place where you settled my child.
You have not yet stumbled against justice, Polymestor, but you will now. Your hopes and your life keeling in the storm like a ship tossed madly in the waves. No anchor, no promise of a sunlit harbor for you ever again. When the strength of the gods and the coldness of justice join to demand payment, there lies horror for mortals. The course you steered with your greedy hopes will lead you all the way to Hades. You will fall into hands too weak for war, but strengthened by merciless fury, and they will sink your life. Listen to the groans of the Thracian.
Again! My children!
Fresh pain hurls its cries out of the tents.
I will claw down this tent, sift through every recess. You will not escape.
Strike all you want. Tear down the tent. Light will never come back to your eyes. Your children will never live again. You are blinded, and I have murdered your sons.
The Thracian is in your power, Hecuba. You have accomplished all you promised.
Watch him stumbling out of the tent, shifting about, hunched, humbled, drags the bodies of his children, the children I killed. Now he has paid his dues. Here it comes. I'll step out of the way of his Thracian rage. Who can counter rage?
Which way? Where am I to go? Where am I being carried? Four-footed mountain beast, where am I to find refuge? This way? That?
That way! No, this way! Here!
Women of Troy, blighted and accursed women, what brought you to this?
What?
Where are they? They shrink from me in invisible recesses. Sun, heal my eyes, soothe these blooded lids, take my blindness away. All quiet. No, I hear the secretive rustle of women. Leap now, seize their limbs and tear their flesh, gnaw their bones, revenge for this outrage, this ignominy, misery. Where am I being carried? How? And leave my children to the carving of these infernal Bacchae, raw joints thrown out as mountain scraps for the dogs? Where will I find rest? Wrap these children in the furled sails of my robes. I steered this way, led them into this lair of wild beasts.
The gods lie heavy on you now, but despicable acts call for stiff fines.
Come to me, Thracians! Men of war and steel! Gallop to my aid on your best horses! And you, Greeks, help me! I'm calling you! Here! By the gods, come to me!
Why these howls? Panic in the Greek army. We almost forgot Troy was already conquered and we had nothing to fear.
Agamemnon, look at me.
Ah, Polymestor, who has felt such wrath against you, your children as well?
Hecuba. Hecuba. Destroyed, trampled, and wrecked.
This is your act, Hecuba. This impossible daring.
She's here. Where? I will snatch her with these two hands, and I will tear bleeding strips of flesh from her rotting bones.
Release the barbarian from your heart and speak. I will listen to both of you and judge accordingly.
I killed her child, Priam's youngest son. I was afraid he would unite the Trojans once again and rebuild their city. And then the Greeks would again send an expedition to Troy, and Thrace would be worn down, ravaged, wasted, and plundered by marching armies, as before. Hecuba lured me here. I entered the tent alone with my children and sat down on a low couch. Left and right, women surrounded me, admiring my clothes, asking to look at my robes in the light. And so, without my noticing, they relieved me of my swords and left me unarmed. Then, the mothers amongst them praised my children, passing them from one to the other, cooing at the babes all the while, and thus moving them as far as possible from their father. And after such peaceful words, suddenly, beyond imagining, they unsheathed their swords from under their robes, they stabbed my children, while others, forming one giant octopus, seized my hands and my arms. As I tried to reach my children, I could do nothing, enmeshed, ensnared. And then they took their brooches from their robes and stabbed my eyes. Murdering bitches. Sacrilege. Pollution. They fled. I pursued them like a wild beast, striking when I could, but blind. Blind. And so, you see, concerned for your welfare, I killed your own enemy. And since the world already echoes with the tales of women's evil, I could only add my voice to their victims' chorus. The earth nurtures nowhere such slabs of misdeed. Meet a woman, and you'll experience this.
Why blame women for sufferings you've brought upon yourself?
I will not allow you a false place in history, Polymestor. No whitewash for you, ever. You say you killed my son to relieve the Greeks of a double threat, but you know as well as I do that barbarians and Greeks can never be friends or allies. What do you want us to believe? That the Greeks threatened your country by ruling overseas? You wanted an alliance? No, there was only one thought going through your mind. Gold. And it is this greed for gold that killed my son. If you wanted to protect the Greeks, why didn't you kill my son when Troy was thriving under Hector's army? You waited until we were defeated, and then you killed the son of your honored ally. You killed the guest of your own house. Having done that, if you were such a friend of the Greeks, why didn't you bring the gold to them, help them in their need as they returned home after such a long war? But you're still clinging to it, hiding it in your house. You could have had a fine name, been seen to help one in need. My son would have been your friend, a gold mine to you. Now you've lost him. The gold is useless to you. You have no sons. You have nothing. And you, Agamemnon, if you help this man, you will seem tainted with evil. He has no respect for what is sacred, no sense of duty. He is a man without God and without justice. You will be thought of as someone who consorts with scum. But I do not want to offend you.
She speaks well because she acted well.
It seems to me, Polymestor, you did not act for my sake or the sake of the Greeks, but in your own interest to keep the gold. Now, you twist words like knots in a rope to climb out of trouble. It may mean nothing to you, barbarians, to kill a house guest, but we Greeks judge it a shameful deed. You behaved without justice. Now you must take your punishment.
Beaten by a slave, I have to concede defeat to my inferiors.
It is just. You acted evilly.
I mourn my children, my eyes, myself.
I lost my child.
But you're enjoying this.
I have my revenge.
The sea will take you.
Carry me to Greece? I know that.
You will fall from the mast.
Death. Well...
Transformed into a dog, a bitch with burning eyes. Your grave, a grim landmark for sailors. That's your place in history. And that's not all. Your daughter Cassandra will meet her death.
Stop! I spit these curses back at you.
Agamemnon, your wife will kill Cassandra and then hack you to pieces.
Take this man away. Throw him on a desert island. Let him prophesy there.
A bitch with burning eyes. A bitch with burning eyes!
I still have my revenge.
I feel the wind. We can sail for home. Leave these pains behind us. And at last, find happiness in our own country.
Down to the shore, friends, to endure the bitterness of slavery. History has no compassion.
Olympia Dukakis appeared as Hecuba in Timberlake Wertenbaker's translation and adaptation of Hecuba by Euripides. The ghost of Polydoros was played by Daniel Anthony, the leader of the chorus by Emma Fielding, Odysseus by Greg Hicks, and Polyxena Emily Bruni. Talthybios was played by Clifford Rose, the serving woman by Sandra Vo, Agamemnon Nicholas Woodson, and Polymestor Timothy West. The singers were Melanie Pappenheim, Marie Vassiliou and Margaret Cameron. The music was composed and realised by Orlando Goff. Timberlake Wurtenbaker would like to thank Margaret Williamson for her help with the Greek text. Hecuba was directed by Ned Chaillet.